Hello and welcome to World Talks with me, Anna Kalczyńska, here on TVP World in Warsaw, Poland. The Czech Parliament will hold a vote on a law today banning dual citizenship. The deputies want to impose tighter rules on citizenship applicants from Russia due to national security concerns. And to discuss this matter, I'm joined from Prague by Jakub Janda, Director of European Values Center for Security Policy. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so the Czech foreign policy is one of the most supportive of Ukraine in its war with Russia. The Czech politicians have been very vocal as to the threats posed by Russia as far as hybrid war unfolds. So if you could please walk us through the perspective of Czech authorities over these security concerns.
Very practically, Czech Republic has hosted quite a large Russian minority. As the Russian war on Ukraine actually intensified in 2022, we have also seen quite a number of Russians trying to enter Czech Republic as well. That's something what is overwhelming Czech national security institutions. So that's why Czech Republic and specifically Ministry of Interior, together with the intelligence community, is actually proposing this new amendment to the law, which would actually make it very hard for a Russian citizen to obtain Czech citizenship, because the effort is that they would have to choose. Either they have only the Czech one, which they can apply if they fulfill the criteria, or they keep their Russian citizenship as well. It would not actually impact their resident or other legal status in the country. But if they want citizenship, which is the highest price, let's say, and is very important, let's say, item which a person can have, they would every Russian individual would have to choose whether they want to keep their be Czech or be Russian. They cannot keep both, because there has been cases where actually this was misused, and that's why Czech Republic or Czech government really wants to have this law in place.
All right, this is very interesting. And can you please tell us how big is the Russian community in the Czech Republic? And is it growing? Is it stagnant? Is it diminishing? What's the trend?
The official numbers are actually quite unclear at this moment, because there has been quite a lot of changes in the last 2.5 years as the big war started. So it was a Russian minority in the Czech Republic was about 4th or 5th largest minority in the country after Slovaks, Russians, or Vietnamese people in the Czech Republic. So it was roughly something more than 50,000 people in the past. But now it's likely lower, since many of them either left or did not really return to Czech Republic. And those are some of the official estimates. So that's currently what the status is. And as we are talking about the citizenship, people need to stay for a long time in the Czech Republic and prove that they are contributing to the society if they want to apply for the citizenship, because that's really after permanent residency status, which actually takes a lot of time.
All right, and what is the general attitude vis-à-vis the Russians and Russia in general among the Czech citizens?
So public polling shows that Russia as a state and the Russian individuals in Czech Republic are not very liked. Czech population pretty much understands the Russian state threat, which we clearly see in Ukraine against NATO countries. So that is the numbers are pretty big. More than a large majority of Czechs understand that. On the state level, relationship to individual Russians is varying. It's very hard to measure it individually. We did not have any major incidents where Czech population would be very hostile to individual Russians in the Czech Republic. We fortunately do not have an organized Russian minority which would be openly supporting Russia. That's what we do not have, fortunately. There is quite a large number of Russian people living in Czech Republic who are opposing the Kremlin. So that's very accepted and very much liked. So it is not a huge political issue as a whole that we would like there would be in Latvia, for example, where the Russian minority actually has a pro-Kremlin stances. That's not the case in Czech Republic. Our issue is more individual, where individual people can pose a threat of espionage to the Czech Republic. And that's why Czech state wants to have this tool to ensure they could really select which people actually would be getting the citizenship in detail.
All right, so it's such a lack of empathy towards the Russian stance and an approach, let's call it this way. Why do the Russians choose your country, the Czech Republic, to come and to stay?
I think Czech Republic has historically, or Czechoslovakia in the past, has been a very welcome place for Russian or Soviet citizen in the past. Also because Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia back then was actually occupied by Russian and or Soviet soldiers widely, and they brought a lot of their families. Many of those soldiers actually stayed in Czechoslovakia after 1989. Plus, actually, Czech Republic has been a very preferable vacation destination for many of Russian citizens in the past. Places or towns called Karlovy Vary or various spa towns have been very appreciated by Russian tourists, but it is pretty much over. And in the past, Czech Republic was also used for Russian dirty money laundering. So officials of the Russian state or oligarchs have used Czech Republic as an entry point into the EU or entry point for laundering their dirty money coming from Russian state as well. That is fortunately over these days. In recent years, Czech Republic has been very strict about it, finally. But for many years, it was the case.
All right. And what does the proposed law entail? When will it become effective? And will it act retro?
If any law cannot go like backwards in time, that would be unconstitutional against rule of law. But very practically, the expectation is that the law will be in the parliament for at least a couple of weeks. It is very hard to judge whether it would how the current opposition parties in the Czech parliament would actually what stances they would take, because they're quite ambiguous about it at this moment. So it's possible that the discussion might take a couple of weeks, and then the effect might be expected sometime next year. That's the hope that's likely going to continue.
All right. And what are there any controversies, or is it a law that is expected to be approved and passed?
There are public discussions about this law. There is part of the Czech human rights community, for example, which is mildly opposing the law, saying that it is discriminatory against Russian citizens because such a law is not being put up against other citizens. So that is a valid argument which is being discussed. The counter argument to this by the national security institutions is that yes, it is discriminatory in a substance, but the threat of Russian espionage is so big that the Czech Republic needs this law, and still Russian people can stay in the Czech Republic. They can apply for asylum, they can apply for permanent residency, but if they want to get the citizenship, they need to choose whether they are Czech or Russian passport holders. So those are the arguments which are lively, but it looks like that the governing majority really wants this law to be passed, so I would expect this to happen.
Thank you very much, Jakub Janda. Thank you for being with us today. Director of European Values Center for Security Policy was joining us from Prague on the expected vote on dual citizenship in the Czech Republic. And that's a wrap for this edition of World Talks. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned as news are coming next.